Over the last decade, Michael has championed and supported the rights of law-abiding Texans to own and use firearms. He is the owner of Central Texas Gun Works, a veteran of the United States Army, and has achieved national exposure in such prestigious media outlets such as Forbes magazine, Fox Business News, CNN Money, AOL, BBC World News, Huffington Post, and the New York Times. Cargill vigorously defends lawful gun ownership in this country without regard to party politics. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
Good day, Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. All right, so I'm just wondering, if Trump wouldn't have banned bump stocks and also AR pistols like the Honey Badger, maybe he would have been reelected. What do you think? That's kind of my thought when it comes to the Second Amendment community, because, we've been dealing with the bump stock ban, meaning that, if you owned a bump stock, the ATF said, hey, you know what? They're illegal, even though you purchased them legally. They're now banned. You either have to turn them in or they confiscated them and they didn't compensate you for it. And if you didn't turn them in or destroy it, you could be charged with a felony. Also, Honey Badger. ATF came out and said, you know what? Now, if you in possession of one of those honey badgers, those are illegal. So, this happened under the Trump administration. So, and I got to think back to, I think back to my different presidents and, which president, we actually lost gun rights versus which presidents we gained gun rights. And so I have to go back and look at, what Obama did when he was in office. And unfortunately, the truth hurts. It really does. It just hurts, and I'm a conservative. But it hurts the fact that Obama expanded gun owners' rights by, gun owners can carry a loaded firearm in the Grand Canyon and other national parks. That happened under the Obama administration. Also, Amtrak. Passengers, were able to carry guns in their checked luggage. That happened under the Obama administration. Reversing a ban that was put in place after 9/11 under George Bush. Ronald Reagan started gun control in California. Remember when the Black Panthers walked into the state capital of California? Well, that's when they started their gun control. And then California just went, far left and, and they lost all of their gun rights whatsoever. So, we have lost more gun rights on the Republican president in the last 40 years than a Democrat president. And you know what? The truth hurts. So you got to look at that. I look at that and that's how I vote, and a lot of people went to the polls and people voted like in Texas. More people voted for Senator John Cornyn than they did, President Trump. And the numbers show that. And there's some other things going on. There's some irregularities going on there. There's some trickery going on there as well. There's some things where, there are more ballots than the people that are actually registered in the county. And that's a problem. That needs to be looked at as well. But let me welcome to the conversation, talk about that because, there's some there's some bad things. There's some trickery going on. That's what I'm trying to tell you, folks. There's some trickery going on. So let me welcome to the mic Jennifer Fleck. She's a Republican poll watcher. And Jennifer actually ran for office as a state representative. And I want to say in District 47 as a state rep. So Jennifer Fleck, welcome to Come and Talk It.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Jennifer, you were a strong candidate running for state representative. You actually ran that election to a runoff election. I appreciate your hard work and stepping up to the plate and, running for public office because that's, that takes a lot out of you.
Yes, it was a lot of work, but I was willing to do it. I knew that things needed to change, specifically in Texas and at the legislature, and I had the time and the resources, and I was willing to run to take back Texas, to be honest. That's what we need to do is take back Texas.
And so tell me, what's going on here with Travis County? Because Travis County is it's corrupt as far as the Travis County Elections Office, as far as the Travis County Tax Assessor's Office. And a lot of people don't know that the Travis County Tax Assessor's Office, which you've been totally asleep on this office here. Totally asleep. Do you know that employees have been arrested in this office, that the state troopers, DPS, walked into this office and arrested employees in the tax assessor's office and took them to jail? And people totally miss this. That's your tax assessor. That's your tax collector. DPS troopers walked into the office, handcuffed employees, and arrested them under your watch this cycle. and it totally was missed. The media hasn't talked about it at all, except for us. I mentioned it and I've talked about it, but everyone totally missed this. And so this building is very corrupt building. But Jennifer, you were there firsthand, counting ballots, watching the ballots being counted.
Correct.
And so tell us what your experience was.
I just want everybody in Travis County and in the state of Texas to know that the clerk's office in Travis County is completely corrupt. They're criminals that are running our elections and processing our ballots. So after my July election, I looked at the audit logs and spoke to witnesses. And I knew in July that the whole office was corrupt and the election had been rigged. We filed complaints with the Texas Secretary of State. A criminal just kind of what you just said, a criminal investigation was referred against the Travis County clerk to the Texas AG and on September 2nd, and nothing was done. They just sat on that criminal investigation and didn't investigate her, and she was then allowed to conduct the next election, which was November. So I volunteered as a poll watcher with the Travis County Republican Party. We had already heard that she was pulling the same trickery, as you say, that she did in July. So I went in knowing she was breaking the law and illegally processing our votes. I volunteered on Monday and Tuesday. I showed up Monday morning as a poll watcher. I turned in my certification. They let me in, but they were obstructing poll watchers. So in Texas, when you obstruct a poll watcher, it's a Class A misdemeanor. So you can go to jail for a year or it's a $4,000 fine. So they were obstructing the poll watchers. They kept us in a separate room behind a glass. We could not hear. The room was about 20 feet deep. We could not see what was going on. There was about, at times, 9 people working in this room, and we couldn't see anything. And every time we tapped on the window, they would ignore us. Every time we knocked on the window, they would come around and tell us we were acting violently and we were disparaging their character because we were accusing them of not being transparent.
Ooh, all right. We're talking with Jennifer Fleck. She's a Republican poll watcher. We're talking about the fact that the post office delivered 40,000 more ballots after the sweep. We're talking about what happened in Travis County. We're talking about this election. Do you know that if Trump wouldn't have banned bump stocks and AR pistols like the Honey Badger, maybe he would still have been elected president? This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Hello, this is Gerald Daugherty, and I'm the Precinct 3 County Commissioner here in Travis County, and you're listening to Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were complying with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking about this election, talking about what happened around the country, and I'm going to say, just like I said it, 4 years ago, when your candidate doesn't win, what you have to do is you have to accept the results of the election and then wait 4 years and try again. I'm very consistent in everything that I do. I'm very consistent in everything that I say. Doesn't change on who's in office or who's not in office. Doesn't matter if I like the person that's in office, I like the person that won, or I hate the person, don't like the person that won. Doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, just like I do every legislative session, when I don't get my way, I, take my bags, I go home and I come back another day. Same thing with the election. It doesn't matter who won or lost. You come back and you try again, and you just try a little harder the next time. And I'm wondering, if you wouldn't have gotten those extra votes, especially, you got to look at all the different votes. All the Republicans down ballot got a certain amount of numbers there. In every different state, every single state, Republicans did better than the president did, President Trump. So you have to look at that. And unfortunately, it hurts. The truth does hurt. But if maybe if this president hadn't banned bump stocks, maybe if this president hadn't banned the honey badger and his administration, the ATF, come after AR pistols, maybe we wouldn't be in this predicament. And it does. And I don't want to hear the fact that, Biden's going to do worse. Unfortunately, I have to look at history, and history dictates that a Republican president is probably going to be the person to take away my Second Amendment rights. Got to look at that. I look at, all the different things that have happened down the road. And unfortunately, history dictates that. All right. So we're talking about that. We're also talking about, and if I'm wrong, give me a call. Hey, my number is 512-643-5483. Come and talk it. Tell me that I'm wrong. You don't like what I'm saying. Tell me, that, Michael, you're wrong, and here's why you're wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. That's 512-643-5483. Come and talk it. What's going on there, Rob? What's going on, Thomas? All right. So, yeah, definitely give me a call and tell me. And then Thomas says, funny thing is that the Democratic voting illegalities are old. I read up on the race between Nixon and Kennedy. Nixon was encouraged to contest the results in Michigan, but the Electoral College results would not have made a difference. So I don't know, Thomas, but you tell me, so we'll see what happens. But we'll see what happens with this election here. All right, so let me go back to Jennifer. Jennifer Fleck was telling us her experience of what happened in Travis County in Texas here. What happened while she was poll watching. Jennifer.
So I was poll watching on Monday. Dana Debevoise and her clerks were obstructing all poll watchers, Democrats and Republicans. So I called the Travis County Republican Party. They contacted the Texas Secretary of State and the county attorney. Dana Debevoise did not make any changes to the room, did not let us in. We still were not able to hear, which under the law we're allowed to. And so I called 911. And about an hour later, a sheriff showed up. I explained the law to him. They took him aside for about 30 minutes. By the time he returned, he was convinced that there was nothing that he could do for me or for us to preserve election integrity. And so he told us that we could file a complaint with the Texas Secretary of State, which we have already done. A criminal investigation was already referred against Dana Debevoise in September. And so I was frustrated with his response. And at that moment, they found out that I was taking pictures because I'm tired of the narrative that voter fraud and election fraud is not happening. That is a lie. So they found out that I was taking pictures of us being obstructed, and they asked me to leave. I refused to leave. About an hour later, they told me again to leave, and I refused to leave again, and I was arrested for criminal trespass. So I spent 24 hours in jail, and it's unfortunate that I had to do that, that it had to come to that. But I will say that since I was arrested, the AG has taken my statement and seems to be investigating the allegations. And the Republican Party of Texas filed a writ of mandamus with the Texas Supreme Court on Friday, asking the court to demand that she let poll watchers in now that the election is kind of a done deal now. But the story is getting traction, and my motive, my intent, my goal is that voters in Travis County will get a legal and fair election.
And then you have to and I tell people this all the time, that when someone asks you to leave, you can't argue that, you can't debate that right then and there. Unfortunately, they're going to have the upper hand, and then you're going to get charged with criminal trespass, and you're going to lose that because verbal notice carries a lot of weight. We talk about that when we're talking about carrying handguns in certain places. That verbal notice carries a lot of weight. So if someone asks you to leave, you have to leave, because if you don't, you refuse to leave. That is criminal trespass. If you have a license to carry a handgun, you can lose that license for 7 years. If you're carrying a handgun, well, you can't in the polling location, but if you where there's polling and stuff like that going on. But if you're carrying a handgun, then you can be charged with Class A misdemeanor, and that's up to 1 year in jail. If you're carrying a handgun. So when they ask you to leave, leave. Don't refuse to leave. Don't debate the issue, because remember, you're no good if you're in jail. So you got to leave and do that, and then let's go back another day and see if we can get that done. Whatever needs to be done, take it up to whatever levels of government you need to take that to, because we're gonna have to go to the Texas State Capitol come this next legislative session and get the legislature to address this situation. We're going to need our state reps, our state senators, and thank goodness that the Republicans still control the House, the Republicans control the Senate in Texas, and so be able to get these issues addressed. I think the legislature is going to address the fact of COVID-19, how it happened, what the governor did, what the governor didn't do. I think the legislature is going to address that. Also, I think they're going to address what happened in this election and mail-in ballots and things of that nature. So we're going to have to look at all this stuff, and that's going to be up to the legislature to do that, because they're the ones that actually write the laws. And when the House agrees on it, the Senate agrees on it, the governor's going to sign it. If not, to go back to them if there's enough time. If not, then that's a done deal. But you only get 6 months from January to June in 2021 to address those things.
I agree that the session is in 2021. However, I don't agree that we, the people, are represented in the legislature, because if we don't have legal and fair elections, then we're not getting to elect people that care about the things that we care about. I believe that the legislature has failed us. I believe the governor has failed us. I believe that the AG has failed us. Until we have legal and fair elections, we, the people, are not represented.
So you're saying that since we don't have legal and fair elections, you don't believe that you can go about things in your own way without necessarily doing it legally as well, sort of.
I'm saying we don't have legal and fair elections, so that the candidates that are being advanced don't actually represent the people.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so if we don't have legal and fair elections, we actually can't advance the issues that we care about.
Right. So it's sort of irrelevant to say, hey, let's change the laws, because if the people aren't representing, whether you're right wing, left wing, moderate, whatever, if the elections aren't a fair process, then there's no point in waiting to change the laws, because you don't have it's rigged from the get-go.
Correct. So,
So when you got arrested for criminal trespassing and for filming, both of which are illegal, you're basically saying that since the process isn't fair in the first place, that you're like fighting fire with fire, essentially.
I say that people who break the rules and break the laws are advancing their causes, and conservatives won't break laws, won't break rules, won't push, and we are getting left behind. We're always playing catch up. We're always behind the ball. Always.
Taking law and order a little bit too far. Sometimes their laws are more like guidelines, Michael. What do you think about that?
What I think is that you have to look at, their laws. And me, I know exactly what it's like for someone to say that you can't do something, or, to be mistreated or to be discriminated against and all the good kind of stuff. Fully aware of that. I'm aware of, I look at law enforcement. I know how law enforcement treats certain people. I know how the courts are stacked up. I know how law enforcement, how they're reacting to certain things. I know the way our criminal justice system works. So I know when things are unfair. But unfortunately, regardless of whether they're unfair or not, you got to work within the system and work with the system. Yes, you do, and get things done. Because if you don't, then she winds
she's
up
on the radio,
and she winds up in jail.
Hey, we all, going to jail is not that big of a deal.
Again,
how long were you in the big house?
24 hours. And again,
one day. And I bet she would do it again. I bet that's what she was about to say.
I would do it again.
Because she believes in what she did.
I would do it again because nothing else was working, and now I am giving my statement to AG.
Civil disobedience. That's what it is. That's what. Who wrote that?
Working.
Thoreau.
Right. And if I was disobedient and I was civil like that in that nature, I probably would have been shot in the Travis County Clerk's office. So unfortunately, I'm not going to act like that. I'm not going to do that. When someone asks me to leave, I'm going to leave. If not, they're probably going to beat me with their nightstick. They may even end up shooting me, but I'm not going to put myself in that situation. And I suggest no one else do the same thing. You got to follow the process, got to do what you need to do, got to take it up to the Texas legislature. You got to get your elected official. You got to go to the Capitol and get them to do what they need to do.
Only if the elected official is...
You got to stand in their office and knock on their doors and get them to hear your voice.
But only if the elected official is fairly and duly elected.
Right.
Welcome to America. Welcome to Texas.
Yeah, we don't like
Welcome
that. We're trying
to
change it.
Yeah, talk to the Indians. They found that out in a hard way as well. Indigenous people.
I've tried that. I'm an activist. I'm an activist on other issues, keeping graphic sex ed out of schools and parental rights. And I was an activist in the last several sessions. In 2019, I came to a point where I was like, why doesn't anybody care? Why doesn't anybody in this building care that they are exploiting children? Why? And I decided to run. The reason why is because we're not getting fair and legal elections.
We come back from the break. We'll go back to Jennifer Fleck, talk about this election. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talkin'.
This is Brittany Glaze, and I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, I invoke my right to remain silent, and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking about this election. We're talking about how does this election affect the Second Amendment community? Well, if Trump would not have banned bump stocks and AR pistols like the Honey Badger, he would have been reelected president. Obama expanded gun rights. You can actually carry a loaded firearm in the Grand Canyon, also in other national parks because of President Obama. In Amtrak passengers can carry guns in checked luggage because of President Obama, which reversed a ban that was put in place after 9/11 under George Bush. Ronald Reagan started gun control in California. Now, we have lost more gun rights under Republican president in the last 40 years. Give me a call. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. My number is 512-643-5483. That's 512-643-5483. Come and talk it.
It is pretty bizarre how gun rights, it doesn't really matter who's in office, really. They keep going away.
Just depends. Frank with Cedar Park, you're on to Come and Talk It.
Yes. Well, first of all, just hats off to a great patriot that you got in the room with Jennifer. I mean, she's awesome. So kudos to her first. And no, it wouldn't make any difference at all. They determined the number of ballots that they needed to effectively steal the election. So our right to vote, until we actually address this and put people in jail, doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
And they've done that for years. Doesn't matter. I mean, not this year. It's done. LBJ did it. Mayor Daley did it. Republicans and Democrats on both sides of the aisle do it to each other. Bernie probably got the nomination, and Biden probably did not. So, we really got to fix this. And until we do, we don't have fair and free elections. And I'll just leave you with that. I appreciate what y'all do. All of you. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Frank. All right, so Jennifer, what do we do? How do we fix this problem?
Well, I 100% agree that fair and legal elections is a bipartisan issue, that not only are Republicans being hurt, but the more moderate Democrats in Travis County are also being hurt because they're advancing the more socialist Democrat in every race. So moderate Democrats in Travis County are not being represented, period. So what can we do? Well, 2 city council races have gone to a runoff, District 6 and District 10, and we should demand, it's set for December 15th, we should demand in Travis County that Dana Debevoise and her office not get to conduct that runoff election, not come near our ballots, and the city of Austin should get behind Mackenzie Kelly and Jennifer Verdon for District 6 and District 10.
All right. And once again, that call-in number is 512-643-5483. That's 512-643-5483. Come and talk it. All right. So I'm going to go back to my previous statement. I'm going to hammer it home, and I hope it hurts. That's why I keep saying it over and over again. I hope it hurts. This administration would not have banned bump stocks. This administration would not have gone after AR pistols the way they're going after them, then maybe things would have changed. Maybe people would have been motivated to get up and actually vote for this particular president, because your state senators and other Republicans down ballot got more Republican votes than the actual president did. And that happened in every single state, every single election. All right. So I'm going to go back and say the same thing.
Let me ask you something. Would you have voted for Trump if he would have been better for 2A?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely, without hands down, because I'm very consistent. I'm all about the Second Amendment, because the Second Amendment protects all of our rights. If I have my,
I agree.
If I can, I have my second, then I can protect everything else. I protect my first, I protect my third, my fourth, and so on and so forth.
I do know a decent amount of of 2A people in the 2A community, I should say, that didn't vote for
Your
Trump.
diehard people are upset about the fact that
and
you're
if you
banning
look
bump
at,
stocks.
if you look at some of the states, the swing states where
Yes.
Trump lost,
Trump didn't lose. We don't know who lost. The vote tallies don't represent the voters, period. Does anybody in this room think that the 2 transportation measures actually passed in the
Prop
city of
A?
Austin? Prop A should not have passed. Prop B should not have passed. I do not believe that that is an accurate reflection.
do you have a lot
of
of
the
friends
votes.
that are progressive or liberal though?
No, I don't.
So then your perception might be off.
Right.
I too find it hard to believe that it actually passed. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but my immediate group of people that I hang around are mostly, moderates and libertarians and maybe some conservatives. But I don't know. Well, no, I do know a decent amount of people. I know a decent amount of people that are progressive that also voted against Prop A. Now
I
that
know a
think
lot of
about
people.
it.
I don't live my life in an echo chamber where the people
Yeah, I do.
around me
That's what I'm saying.
are saying
Well,
the
I'm a
exact
reporter.
same thing. Yeah.
I run around all over the place, talk
Right.
to everybody.
So, yeah, you got to get out of the echo chamber. You got to get
But
get other voices out there.
listen, without transparency, we cannot be sure that the voters are being represented. We don't have
I
transparency.
also agree with that.
Dana Debevoise and her office will not let poll watchers in. If you have nothing to hide, there's no reason why you should not let poll watchers in and do their job that they're given under the law.
What I can say is this election is a wash. This is done.
Yeah.
So all we need to do is, pick it up. Let's figure out what we're going to do. Let's figure out what we can change at the legislature come 2021 and see how we can make it different for the next election. Because this is a wash.
wait.
This is the exact
You
same
think
thing. Same thing we dealt with the Democrats come in 2016. It's gonna be this, same.
No, this
thing.
is this election's the same thing as 2000.
Same thing.
This is the same thing as the 2000 election when Gore won
We're dealing
Florida.
with
And
Florida.
then now but this time it's Nevada.
In my opinion, this legislative session is going to be a complete shit show. All
Nope.
it is,
Can't curse.
it's going to be redistricting, and that's all they're going to get done. It's going to be all virtual. Activists aren't going to be able to come in and testify, and this legislative session is going to be a complete wash. None of us are going to get anything advanced that we care about, period.
We can if you got to.
I don't think this
you gotta
election's
push.
over.
You got to push. 'Cause I've been told that. I've been told that. You know what? Open carry will never pass in Texas. I've been told that campus carry will never pass in Texas. I've been told so many different things that will never ever happen.
And then you gotta
because
push through.
people stand at the Capitol and they bring they tell stories. They bring people out of state that don't live in this state to try to keep you from getting the things that you want. But you know what I do? I continue to push and to fight. I don't let someone tell me no. I don't take no for an answer. You know
Well,
what?
she's not either.
But hold on. 2A.
She just has a different-
The Second Amendment, you can get some bipartisan, bipartisan support. For some reason, sexualizing children, is a partisan issue. I don't know why. Every single Democrat wants to sexualize children. Every single Republican doesn't. Why is that a partisan issue? You just happen to care about something that you can get support from both sides.
Okay, yeah.
That's why your issue is maybe advances more so than other pro-life or.
Well, how do you develop partisan support?
I don't know. I go into every office and not one single Democrat cares about parental rights and sexualizing children. Not one.
What do you think, Michael?
Sometimes you have to sit down and talk to people and willing to see where they're willing to compromise on certain issues so you can get a little bit of what you want.
gotta
You may not
cut
be able to
deals.
get everything. I never get everything that I want, but I have to sit down and talk and try to compromise a little bit and get a little bit of what I want.
I want what the people want. I want the voters represented by their legislature.
Sometimes
We
you're not
don't
gonna.
have that.
Sometimes you're not gonna get instant gratification. It's like having sex. You're not gonna get everything you want. You're
I've
not
been
gonna
working on this
They're not
since
gonna go all the way that
2013.
you want them to go. But
Watch it.
but sometimes you have to settle for the little bit that you can get.
I don't want a little bit. I don't. I want the voters represented. I want Texas to be the independent, freedom-loving, liberty-fighting state that I was born in and I grew up in. Texas should be leading this country on everything that Americans care about.
I agree.
Sounds like you need to go to
Sounds like you need to run for office again.
for libertarian.
I'll never run in Travis County as long as Dana Debevoise is running our elections because she's fixing and rigging elections.
And also,
period.
and maybe we need to have that conversation about voting libertarian or voting independent.
I'm all for independents and libertarians. I lean libertarian.
Well, maybe we need to show that by actually voting for libertarian candidates. And if the libertarians can actually get a certain percentage of vote, that would change. That would change a lot if they can get that nice third, that third candidate, that third choice, instead of having the left and the right.
Yeah.
Well, the binary system is garbage.
Yeah.
It's not hard because people don't do it. People that I talk to, everyone talks about the fact that they're libertarian leaning. They talk about it all the time, but then no one actually goes out and vote. For that libertarian candidate.
Vote libertarian.
No, they don't. They talk about it, but they don't vote for the candidate.
Did you?
I did.
So did I.
I sure did.
I voted for the libertarian in HD 47.
Yeah.
All right. and it changes votes also. Maybe that's another reason why some of those vote totals weren't as high as we thought they were. Also, that affects those numbers a little bit.
We have to fix it. It has to get fixed. We can't continue on. If Trump does nothing else the next 4 years but fix election integrity, that will be a win for the American people. We have to fix it. I don't know if you guys know, but our votes are actually tabulated outside of this country. That should not be. We need American-owned election software and hardware companies.
What do you mean? Outside of the country?
26 states have contracts where our votes are tabulated in Barcelona and Frankfurt, Germany, and then sent back into America. They're private companies that run election software. They're sending our votes outside of the country. That should not be happening.
All right, let's talk about the fact that 40,000 mail-in ballots were delivered by the United States Postal Service on Thursday as it continued court-ordered sweeps of postal centers across the country. So the Postal Service reported early Friday that it found 1,076 ballots at its Philadelphia Processing and Distribution Center, about 300 at a Pittsburgh Processing Center, and more at other centers across the state. Now, ballots in Pennsylvania must be postmarked by Election Day, but can be received by Friday evening and still count. It is one of more than a dozen states with deadlines to receive ballots stretching into the next week. Now, ballots have also been delivered in North Carolina, where about 500 were found during sweeps. And U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan on Thursday ordered twice daily sweeps to be conducted during the morning and the afternoon at a Postal Service facility in states where the deadline to receive ballots has been extended due to the coronavirus pandemic. Now, about 150,000 ballots were delivered Wednesday following sweeps, according to a lawyer for a nonprofit organization, Vote Forward. According to this news report, the vast majority were destined for postmarked states and would be delivered on time under state election law. And that's according to one of the postal services that said that in Reuters. Some states, including Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina, are still counting ballots as a result of the 2020 presidential election.
How long did the 2000 election last? When was Bush officially?
It lasted. It took a few. It was a few weeks. Yeah,
that's I was pretty young.
Yeah, there's no instant gratification. There's something with just this generation here that wants instant gratification. When it comes to things, they don't understand the fact that Florida totally screwed that up, and it took Florida a long time to fix that. We were dealing with Chads. Do you remember Chads?
Hanging Chads.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what's funny? The fact that for a couple days there, the entire election was hinged, it was hinging on the state of Nevada was funny because, like the Vegas and people gambling and whatnot. I thought it was hilarious. I have a bunch of friends that were gambling on who was going to win. It's kind of poetic.
American people need to understand that we have an enemy that lives in this country that wants to destroy this country, wants to take our freedoms, wants to take our liberties, and we have to wake up.
It's not just it's not a partisan thing though. I'm not saying that you're saying that, but that's what people need to realize is that it's not a partisan thing. The binary political system pits people against each other, when in reality, I don't think the average Democrat or Republican really has that much of a difference in opinion on a lot of the topics.
I agree.
All
I
right.
agree.
We're talking about the election. We're talking about how does this election affect the Second Amendment community. We're talking about if Trump, maybe would not have banned bump stocks. Maybe he would have not, come after the, AR pistols. Maybe more Republicans would have stood up and actually voted for him and not sit on their hands. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Folks, this is Doug Man Jones. And I get my gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated. It has escalated to the point where one of the participants has actually gotten out of their vehicle. We recommend that you stay in your vehicle at all times. Do not exit your vehicle, because the person who exits their vehicle is going to be looked at as the aggressor. If the other individual has exited their vehicle and they are not in contact with your vehicle and they do not have a weapon, then do not feel that you can display your weapon in an act of self-defense. People are allowed to just simply stand there and scream at you, scream whatever they want. Until they make a demonstrative effort to try to harm you, there is no immediate threat that would justify displaying or shooting or brandishing your firearm. Now, in the event that the person shows their own weapon, in particular a firearm, the existence of their weapon would give you reasonable belief that there was an immediate threat of harm that would justify an act of force or deadly force. Even in this situation, I would be very cautious. Now,
welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
That's right. We're talking about this election. And people are like, I'm tired of talking about the election. I don't care. We're going to talk about it anyway. I'm going to talk about how this affects the Second Amendment, and how does this affect, the future of this country and also the future of this state. And you got to look at that. You got to look at why this election happened the way it happened, whether you like it or not. If the president, this administration would have actually stood up and supported bump stocks, would have stood up and supported the honey badger and short barrel rifles or AR pistols, we wouldn't be in this predicament. They may not have sat on their hands and actually voted for this president. And the truth hurts. The truth hurts the fact that, President Obama expanded gun rights. He actually expanded the right to carry in the Grand Canyon, also in national parks under the Obama administration. Also, Amtrak passengers to carry guns in their checked luggage under the Obama administration. Reversing a ban that was put in place after 9/11 under George Bush. Also, Ronald Reagan started gun control in California. We have lost more gun rights under Republican presidents, whether you like it or not, in the last 40 years. And the truth hurts.
Now, I got a question for you. Under Obama, when these laws were passed, was the Congress Democrat or Republican? Because you know as well as I do that the president doesn't actually really do that much. It's It's the Congress that
They
passes
lose.
the
They
laws.
use their political power to get these things done.
So was it a Republican or Democrat Congress?
They got this done.
Yeah, under Obama.
It was going to be Republican under Obama, and he signed off on it.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Go look it up. Research it.
I'm
Well,
looking it up.
It's like this. Google.
You're such a dork.
I am. That's right. Google.
All right, let's see here.
All right, and then let's talk about, Trump declines. He actually declines to concede election promises lawsuit. President Donald Trump on Saturday.
He already filed multiple lawsuits.
So he's declined to concede the election and promised lawsuits to challenge initial results despite major media outlets projecting the former vice president Joe Biden has secured enough electoral votes to win the White House. Unfortunately, the media cannot call an election, so we have to wait until the actual results are actually happen. So, and that's where we take it from there. Also, whatever happened to Sheriff Chody? He disappeared.
Sheriff Chody lost his election to Mike Gleason, the first Democrat sheriff in Williamson County since 1980 something.
Yeah. So wow, what's going on there? He just fell off of social media. He used to tweet so much. He's on
well,
Twitter,
you know what?
He deleted his Twitter account.
Yep, that's right.
Wow.
Old Chody.
I don't know what's happening in Williamson County, but if what's happening in Travis County is happening in Williamson County, I don't trust the results in Williamson County.
No.
Chody lost fair and square.
There's no fraud.
He's a loser. He lost.
Yeah.
He was indicted on charges of evidence tampering after he threw out a bunch of footage from a live PD video that showed someone dying.
I've heard all that, but I'm not for or against any specific candidates. What I'm for is election integrity. And what I'm saying is if what's happening in Travis County is happening in Williamson County, I don't trust the results.
No, I trust the results.
Yeah.
That
guy
100%
very much disliked.
Yeah. Absolutely, because anytime someone dies at a scene, there's a homicide investigation. Let's investigate this. The very first thing as an investigator I'm going to do is I need to grab everyone's video footage. I need to get your dash cam. There's a camera crew here. How about I grab your tape so I can take a look at the video and let me figure out what happened.
Now,
what a concept.
You know what's even more wild is that Live PD deleted their own digital copy of it 30 days or so after it was shot. That's their rule of thumb there. How could you delete footage of a person dying? We're talking about big missteps. Big missteps.
No, this is a big cover-up.
Anyways, that's for sure. But that's old news.
Yeah, it's a big cover-up. Unfortunately, not for the family, because there's a family that's suffering because their loved one is dead.
That's a very, very good point. We had his sister Kimberly Ambler Jones on here, and she was a very good guest. She talked a lot about what happened and how her brother was a stand-up guy, and he wasn't. That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, and the fact that this sheriff has actually deleted his account, I don't feel sorry for him at all. He's deleted his account, totally fallen off step back from the ledge. That's all I got to say.
I'll tell you what though, after saying this on air, I'm treading lightly when I drive through Williamson County.
I don't drive through Williamson County. I drive around. I go through Houston before I go north. I'm telling you right now. I go to Interstate 45.
Drive all the way to Houston. Drive all the way to Houston to drive up.
I will drive to Houston first before I drive through Williamson County. So you're not gonna get me. I'm not coming through your little nasty county. Now I'm gonna talk trash about you, and I'm not coming through your county. Now, nana boo boo, stick your head and do this.
I think we should talk trash about Travis County because I'm curious if the voters want what's happening in the city of Austin, and therefore our city council incumbents keep getting advanced and not actually elected.
Man,
so
we've been getting stumbled on and trampled on in Travis County. We talk about it every single week.
Do the voters in Travis County want the homeless camping all over the place?
No,
do they? Do the voters in Travis County want to defund the police? Do they?
Well,
is that actually what they want?
If they voted these incompetents, the same people in office, and obviously they do.
But I'm saying they didn't vote them in. I'm saying Dana Debevoise is rigging and fixing elections. That is not a reflection of what the voters want in Travis County.
You're in the blue dot. You're taking for granted that we have educated and smart voters in Travis County, but I don't think we do.
I think that
I have faith in the people. I knocked probably 9,000 doors. I have faith in the voters, and I feel like I have a feeling about what the voters want and what any common sense person wants. I don't believe that the voters put these people into office. I don't believe it.
Well, take that to church, grab your Bible, and work on it, because I'm willing to tell you, these people are in office for a reason. They've been in office. They're continuing to be in office every 2 years, every 4 years. They're going to be in office. Your same city council members. Yeah, the one that's up in District, 3? What's his name?
Greg Kazar.
Yes.
Okay. Illegal election in 2014. Laura Presley filed a lawsuit. Hold on. Laura Presley filed a lawsuit in 2014. In 2019, the Supreme Court said she actually had evidence of an illegal election. And yes, Texas Supreme Court. But my point is, Greg Kazar keeps getting advanced illegally.
Still there, and they still keep voting for this guy.
They're not voting for him. Dana DeBevois and her corrupt office are advancing socialist candidates in Travis County. That's what Travis County voters need to understand is happening.
I'll see you in court.
Yes, hopefully this goes to court. And I had to go to jail to make it happen, but hopefully this goes to court.
No, what's going to happen when you go to court is going to be your criminal trespass charge. The other thing you want to work on is the Texas, the state. You got to work it on the state level and get, someone on the state level to bring a case against the county for that to happen.
Under election law, under the Texas Election Code, only the Texas
Secretary of
Attorney
State.
General, only the Texas Attorney General can prosecute election crimes.
Right.
Paxton has so many problems of his own internally in his office. I assume that's the problem. I don't know, actually. Paxton has to prosecute election crimes.
Right. So you're gonna have to get with those attorneys that are in that office are great attorneys. It's not necessarily all about him all the time. And if you give him a little honey, a little sugar with their tea,
a little razzle dazzle,
right? And then I guarantee you can get your case. I've had several cases go forward with the Attorney General's office, and I'm a rabble rouser. I'm a yeller and screamer and talk bad about everybody. And I've beat the city of Austin in district court before. So you got to get that case up there. But I totally understand. And I'm not downplaying, what you're talking about, because I believe you 100%. Trust me, I know there's some trickery going on here. We come back from the break. We're going to talk with Jennifer Fleck a little more. We're going to talk about this, We're going to talk more about the election, because someone sent me a message and said, I don't want to talk about the election anymore. We're going to talk about it again. We're going to talk about it some more. That's right. We're going to talk about Williamson County, the Williamson County Sheriff. We're going to talk about what's happening there. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack Jones here, and I get my gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, we're going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, something that is legal is now illegal. and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so that gun sales to first-time buyers skyrocketed amid the fears of a bloody election and unrest? That's right. Gun sales soared prior to this election. So, like legions of other first-time buyers who are contributing to record sales for the U.S. gun industry this year, this one particular person here says that the decision to take up arms is driven in part by disturbing news about the coronavirus pandemic, social unrest over police killings of black people in potential contested election that many fear could spark violence. Every time, we think about the worst is going to happen. I've had people walk into the gun store, saying that, that on election night, the day after election, the world's going to end. All this stuff is going to happen. People actually say these things.
That the world's going to end?
Oh, yeah. It's D-Day. The world's going to end. Everything's going to, come to head on, the day after the election. I tell you, it's the things that are said and happen in the gun store would just blow your mind.
Hey, well, you talking about first-time gun owners going up, right? I believe we have a video of that, Michael.
We do?
You want to run that?
Sure, yeah.
Casey, can you run the video that we recorded at Centex?
Yeah, it's at the end of the...
At the end of the dock. I went to Central Texas Gunworks, and I asked employees and customers and a firearms instructor why they thought first-time gun ownership is skyrocketing before the election. Did you buy a gun recently?
Yes.
First time?
Yes.
Really?
Nice.
Yes.
What made you do it?
I felt unsafe. I'll be honest. I felt unsafe. I knew that this election was going to produce a lot of
turmoil,
unease, and I did. I felt unsafe, and I think owning a gun is preventative. I hope I never have to use it, but I think it's unwise to not own a gun now.
And the gun industry is actually very predictable. You can always look at what's going on, and I'll tell you if gun sales is going to go up. I'll tell you if there's going to be gun shortage. I'll tell you if there's going to be ammunition shortage. Every year, a normal year, I can tell you when the gun industry is going to be busy, good time to buy. I can tell you when gun industry is not going to be busy, a bad time to buy. But customers don't listen. You tell them things, and they're just like, I want this, and I want this right now. And I'm just telling you, you're not going to be able to get this. It's going to take a little while. And they're just like, well, you want to know why? Well, it's because, unfortunately,
everything's on back order right now.
Times are tough right now, and you got to look at the big picture, what's going on in other countries. People don't want to realize, they don't want to hear the fact that a lot of our parts and pieces and some of our guns, a lot of our guns come from overseas. The different parts come from overseas. Unfortunately, they're not made in America. You're like, oh, Second Amendment, America. Guess what? That gun's probably not made in America. It's made in another country, or some parts of that is made in another country. And other countries don't take the Second Amendment the way we do. The Second Amendment is very important to us, and we're not shutting down, our gun stores and stuff like that here. But unfortunately, in other countries, they shut their places down when the country shut down. And so it takes months, 6 months to 8 months to get stuff, from them to us overseas. And that's the fact of it. But take a listen to some of the customers, the employees, and an instructor, what they had to say inside Central Texas Gunworks.
I'm Gary Faust with Come and Talk It, and today we are outside of Central Texas Gunworks in Austin, Texas, to speak with customers and employees alike about the uptick in first-time gun owners leading up to the 2020 election. All right, I'm here with Gina Roberts, a firearms instructor from California, and thank you for talking to me today. My pleasure. Have you noticed any changes in the 2A landscape leading up to the election?
Absolutely. It has been truly remarkable, the changes that I've seen with especially our liberal friends.
Have you noticed a shift in who's purchasing firearms amongst your friends or family?
I don't think I've necessarily seen a shift, but a lot of people close to me have been deciding to buy firearms for the first time in the last year.
I'm here with Andres at Central Texas Gunworks, and you are a sales associate, and you've been dealing with customers on a daily basis for the past, how many months?
Last 6 months.
The last 6 months. And have you noticed any changes in the clientele at Central Texas Gunworks?
Yes, it's been an increase of a lot of beginners, person that actually never owns a guns before, and they want to take a class. They want to know about beginner class, private classes, and all that. And we got a lot of beginners.
What about an increase in first-time gun owners?
Unbelievable. I think something on the neighborhood of 54% of the gun purchases in San Diego County, where I live, are brand new, never ever bought a gun before.
Do you have an idea for what the reason behind these people buying guns for the first time is?
I guess most of them after the coronavirus, they got scared. They thought the food was there was no gonna be food anywhere. People were gonna break into houses and stuff, so they got scared. They started trying to get guns, just to survive and defend and protect themselves, pretty much.
Do you think that election fears are going to shift people's political viewpoints?
Yes, both towards our side and away from our side. So, and I'm going to say our side being, the pro-gun, pro-right side.
Has there been an uptick in sales leading up to the election?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure there is. The last couple of weeks, it's been an increase of gun sales, so I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Do you think people are concerned about what's going to happen in the aftermath of the 2020 election between Trump and Biden?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really into all that, but I heard a couple of people saying that if Trump loses, they're going to, people, the ATF is going to take all the guns from everybody, which I don't think is going to happen. And same thing, and vice versa. They think if we then win and Trump loses, you cannot buy any guns or something like that, pretty much. That's what they're saying, but I don't really know how it is.
So, because we've seen a drastic increase in the number of people who would consider themselves liberal or moderate or left-wing who are purchasing guns for the first time this year, and a lot of it's due to, election fears. Do you think that's a valid concern, that people should be fearful of the election, of what might happen after the election?
I think it's important to always be prepared. Stay ready so you don't got to get ready. I don't necessarily think people should be fearful, because if you're well prepared, there's nothing to fear. Personally, that's what I believe.
Well said. So there's been a lot of first-time gun buyers. Has there been a change in sort of the demographic of who's buying guns? Because, you know, stereotypically, the media will tell people that it's all white men buying firearms. Is that the case?
No. I'm seeing a lot of increase on black people, Hispanic people, and Indians. Also Asians. A lot of Asians have come and buy guns for the first time. So it's not just white. It's like a balance. You know, everybody.
Why do you think that so many more people who were not a gun owner before are now purchasing firearms?
Well, I mean, people really seem to believe that another civil war is going to happen. That seems to be a discourse. I thought it was funny. I was on that Texas Gun Traders website, and one of the ads for ammo was like pre-election day sale, which I thought was like really funny. But also, like, that's exactly what's on people's minds. So I think that people are sensing an intensity of a passion for certain political ideologies. And it's just not really safe out here. You know what I mean? People are getting killed. People are scared. Other people are stocking up. Like, we see the sales of guns going up.
As you can see, a combination of factors are influencing folks across the political spectrum to purchase firearms for the first time in the months leading up to the 2020 presidential election. I'm Gary Faust with Come and Talk It.
And you got to look at, you got to remember supply and demand. And we look at the supply. When the supply is low, the demand is high, the cost is going to go up. It's basic civics 101. And people, have totally forgotten about this. Everyone's going to get guns. Everyone wants to, they want to get ammunition. There are people out there trying to get 9mm. They're trying to get, 223, 5.56. And guess what? The supply is low, the demand is very high, higher than it's ever been, and so the cost is going to go up. And that's only going to get worse now that Biden is now going to be the next president of the United States. Guess what? The cost of ammunition is going to be even higher. The cost of, firearms is probably going to go up. Maybe there's going to be some talk of banning some type of gun that's out there. And so just the talk of it, even if it happens, it doesn't happen, the cost is going to go up. That's what's going to happen. So like the guy said in the video, you need to get ready, instead of, you should already be ready. You shouldn't have to get ready. So I stay ready.
Stay ready. I saw you on election day. What were you wearing on election day?
I was wearing a bulletproof vest. I was ready for
body armor.
That. That's right. Bulletproof vest. Had my AR, 3,000 rounds.
Hey, the reporter that did that video there, he was a pretty handsome guy, pretty charismatic.
I don't know.
I think he's a real stellar part of the show. I think that guy needs a raise.
I don't think he's earned it yet. So Jennifer, what do you want to say to the people in closing there? You know what? When we come back from the break, I'll let you close out and tell us what do you expect to happen. Do you have a court date, and where can people support you? Do you have a GoFundMe page? We'll talk about that when we come back from the break. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
This is Brittany Glaze, and I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, "I invoke my right to remain silent," and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs, but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights, and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent, and my right to my attorney. Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking about this election. I want to talk with Jennifer Fleck about, when is your court case? How can people support you? Because a lot of people like what you have to say, So when is your case? How do they support you?
My case is November 24th. I don't have a record. I've never been to jail. It's a Class B misdemeanor. I'm hoping and thinking that it will get dismissed. I'm an attorney. I plan on either representing myself or having a Patriot attorney represent me for free.
Okay, so November 24th. Okay.
Correct.
All right. And what court is that?
I don't know. Travis County. I don't know what court I'm in.
Oh, okay. And then can people, is there a GoFundMe page anyway that people can,
Nope.
support you in that way?
I don't have a GoFundMe page. I'm hoping this doesn't cost a lot of money.
Right.
But thank you for asking.
No.
Criminal trespass? You're fine.
Yeah.
I could represent you. I've been to court enough times. I won my case last time.
But I will say this, I've had many candidates reach out to me that were on the ballot in November in Travis County, and also a transportation PAC has reached out to me. And so there may be a lawsuit in the works where we, allege that the Travis County clerk has illegally processed votes and that they didn't get a fair election.
Right. And that's exactly what should happen. That's exactly the way to do it, 100%. And so I'm definitely sorry that actually happened to you. I'm sorry you experienced that, in the Travis County Elections Office, but like I said, that is a corrupt office. That's the correct building. The tax assessor is a very corrupt building, a corrupt office, and we did not hold them accountable this election. We put the same people back into office again to continue doing their same corrupt business as usual with your tax dollars.
Yep.
The Texas Department of Public Safety DPS troopers walked into the tax assessor's office and arrested employees, and we did not hold them accountable this election.
That's right.
They don't think you're stupid. They know you're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's sort of like when you tell your child, if you do that again, I'm going to ground you or spank you or punish you, and you just keep saying it, but you don't ever do it. That's the same thing. We have laws in place. They break the laws. There's supposed to be a penalty, but it's never.
But they keep doing the same thing, and which is why I respect what you did. Even if I may have difference of opinion with you on a number of issues, you can't. It's the same thing with the constituency, though. You can't have these people saying, we've got rigged elections. We've got rigged elections. That's all talk. And if you're all talk and you don't walk the walk, then they're going to keep doing it. But if people start walking into these places and getting arrested and getting carted out and the paddy wagon, you know what I'm saying? It's going to start changing things, whether you like it or not, Michael, because you know what? You know what changed after the BLM protests? Police got defunded. That stuff does work. Civil disobedience does work. You can't always just wait to bring it to the legislature because sometimes it's too late and you got more corrupt people in there. Now, I'm also saying, you know, you go into jail for one day as a poll watcher is not going to change that much, but those little incremental events, I mean, these little less significant events can develop incremental change.
It creates public pressure. It creates public pressure and public awareness. And when more people are demanding that the laws be enforced, then it's hopefully the idea is we're going to force the AG to do his job and to prosecute election crimes.
And the governor said that he's going to take that power away from the city of Austin, and he's going to regulate it on the state level.
What?
Yeah, exactly. You missed that part, didn't you?
No, I don't like that either.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
like
okay.
that either. Listen, if you put
you missed that part.
You're real proud of yourself over there,
No,
Michael.
I'm just telling you, there's cause and effect when it comes to everything. There's a certain way to do everything. And the way that you can't destroy someone's property and think that everyone's going to jump up and down and support you because you're destroying property.
But it's been working with these people that are my age, these younger people, because they're I don't know. That's a whole
I
other
actually
conversation.
don't agree with the governor putting the Austin Police Department underneath the DPS.
I don't either.
This is why. Hold on. But the Republican leadership allows problems to fester. So if we had legal elections, we could elect city council members that represent our interests. But if we don't have legal elections, then the problem just gets worse.
So how do you solve it?
And worse. Legal elections.
How? Yeah, that's a good
take
question.
the criminals. Hold on. We got to prosecute election crimes, and we have to put honest people.
Who's we?
Who's going to prosecute?
Who's going to prosecute? It's
The
the same
Attorney
problem
General.
with the police.
I know.
They're not, because they're corrupt too. The whole system's corrupt, which is why I think that when I really do support what you did, because I think it's the only thing that really puts it out there.
Yeah. On behalf of the black community, I'm going to welcome you to the black community. Welcome to the United States of America. All right, so let's talk about use of force.
Thank you for having me. Are you talking to me or her?
No, both of you. I'm welcoming you to I'm welcoming you to Black America. That such is life, and I'm gonna welcome you to the indigenous.
We live in America.
Indigenous
All
people
matter.
All right, well, I'm gonna welcome you to the indigenous people, to the Indians, and I'm gonna make you an Indian.
I'm an American
and
Indian.
Welcome to America.
I have an American
so
Indian.
you understand.
I'm a female.
Great.
Females have endured more persecution than Black America.
And so you understand the great foxtrot and how the Indians feel.
Yes,
Great.
I do.
All right, outstanding. So
Be a patriot. Be a Texan. Fight for America.
grab a gun. Why'd you wait so long to go buy a gun?
I never have felt this unsafe, to be honest. And I didn't grow up with guns. I didn't have a dad that had a gun.
Well, you're gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn today. All right.
I love it.
All right, so let's talk about use of force and deadly force. I got this question this week. You know, people said, what do I do, Michael, if I find myself driving on I-35 and there's a riot, protest, whatever, I'm sitting on the interstate, what do I do if people surround my vehicle, they're on 35, they're pounding my vehicle, what do I do? Unfortunately, the law does not give you anything other than civil remedy to handle that situation because someone's pounding on your vehicle, blocking traffic, banging on your vehicle. All you can do is get a description of that person and take it up civilly, because unless the police arrest them for blocking the roadway, which is a Class A misdemeanor, blocking the roadway. But if the police do not arrest them because we've defunded the police, then you have to deal with it civilly. And all you can do is sit in your vehicle. The Texas Castle Doctrine says that if someone's attempting to enter your vehicle or remove you from your vehicle, you can use force or deadly force to stop them. It doesn't say just because someone's pounding on your vehicle, someone's standing next to your vehicle, you can use force or deadly force to stop them. Now, if someone's pointing a gun at you, that's another story. Then do you feel that this person's trying to kill you? If you think they're trying to attempt murder, they're trying to kill you, then you can use force or deadly force to stop them. So you got to understand use of force and deadly force. I encourage people, if you're going to carry a gun, but you're not going to get your license, it's always good to come to class and take a license to carry handgun course so we can go over the Texas laws with you. Because there's a difference between the stand your ground law and the Texas Castle Doctrine. The stand your ground law says that if someone's attempting, basically If someone's committing, some type of crime, whether it's aggravated kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, aggravated robbery, you can stand your ground. You have no duty to retreat. As long as you're not committing criminal trespass, as long as you have a right to be there, as long as you're not committing a crime, then you can stand your ground. You have no duty to retreat. Now, and that's if that person is committing aggravated kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, aggravated robbery, if they're attempting to enter or remove you unlawfully from your home, your vehicle, your place of business. Now, when it comes to the use of force and deadly force on property, no, people, you cannot shoot someone just because someone's in your backyard. If your house backs up to the green belt, this is the number 2 question. My house backs up to the green belt, and if someone hops my fence and they're committing criminal trespass and they're in my backyard, can I shoot them? No, you cannot. Unfortunately, the only thing you can do is use force. Force is you can push them off the property. You can use pepper spray. You cannot use deadly force because someone's committing criminal trespass. And just so you know, criminal trespass means you've asked them to leave. They refuse to leave. That's criminal trespass. The way this works is you have to call the police. The police have to show up. When the police show up, you tell that person in front of the police officer to leave. If they refuse to leave, it's criminal trespass. If they leave and come back, that's criminal trespass. You can only use force. You cannot use deadly force for criminal trespass. If someone's in your backyard, unfortunately, all you can do is call the police and get law enforcement involved. When it comes to using deadly force in your property, here's how the breakdown is, people. You can use deadly force to protect your property if a person is committing arson, burglary, robbery, aggravated robbery, theft during the nighttime, or criminal mischief during the nighttime. Arson, doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. If there's a crowd of people and they're at a business somewhere and they're burning down the business, whether it's daytime or nighttime, you can use force or deadly force to stop them because that is arson. They're committing arson. If a person is committing burglary, you can use force or deadly force to stop burglary. Any portion of their body sticks to the door, the window that protrudes through that door, that window, you can use force or deadly force to stop them. Doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. If they're committing robbery, they're taking something from you with force, you can use force or deadly force to stop them. Aggravated robbery, production of a weapon that causes injury to you when they take it from you, you can use force or deadly force to stop them. Theft, you can only use deadly force if it's theft happening at night, not during the daytime. Theft, someone swipes something from you. Theft, someone goes into a store, they take something off the shelf, that's theft. If someone pickpockets you, that is theft. If someone takes something from you with force, that is robbery, or it could be aggravated robbery if they use a weapon. You can only use deadly force as theft happening at night. And also criminal mischief, toilet paper in your home, graffitiing your property, you can use force, deadly force to stop that. Remember, this election would have been different if this president may have stood up a little stronger for the Second Amendment and not heed and hawed and step back on it. If President Trump would not have banned bump stocks, he would not have came after AR pistols like the Honey Badger, he would have been reelected president. Obama expanded gun owners' rights, carried loaded firearms into the Grand Canyon and other national parks. Also, Amtrak passengers to carry guns and check baggage. That happened under President Obama. Reversing a ban that was put in place after 9/11. Don't forget it. As always, more guns equals less crime. You go out there and you buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talking with Michael Cargill.